Good evening, Emma Ipolato with ABC News. A former Labor MP and her husband have appeared in court, accused of blackmailing opposition leader Peter Malinauskas. Both Isabel and Greg Dygans were released on bail this afternoon and, just hours later, swiftly expelled from the SA Labor Party. Mr Malinauskas wouldn't detail the allegations, saying that's for the courts to work through. Here's state political reporter Isabel Dayman.
A former Labor MP released from police custody.
I have no comment.
Isabel and her husband Greg are charged with blackmailing their now former party colleague, opposition leader Peter Malinauskas. They were arrested at their Strathalbyn home early this morning and taken to the City Watch House.
This certainly hasn't been, a particularly enjoyable exercise.
Mr Malinauskas made a report to SA Police early last year over conduct he's described as inappropriate. Court documents allege that between the 12th of February and 28th of March 2020, Isabel and Greg Dygans menaced Peter Malinauskas, intending to get him to submit to a demand. In a brief court appearance today, the pair were ordered to surrender their passports and not contact the opposition leader.
I'm not in a position to comment on the particulars of the case. All I can say is that when that conduct occurred in early last year, I merely sought legal advice, and I very promptly, following that, reported that matter to South Australian Police.
In a statement, South Australia Police said Mr Malinauskas is not being investigated for any criminal offence and is not suspected of any criminal offence. He is simply the victim of an alleged blackmail, and the details of the allegation will be presented and tested through the prosecution and judicial process. Despite losing her seat of Elder in 2018, Ms Dygans has been back in the headlines in recent weeks after speaking out about the now infamous Can You Trust Habib flyer. She says she was bullied into silence by the Labor Party over the flyer, which has been widely seen as racist against her election opponent, Liberal MP Carolyn Habib, now Carolyn Power.
People saw this flyer as being racist, and so then I was named racist. My husband was labelled racist as well.
Ms Dygans last month said she hadn't formally sought to run for Labor at the next election.
Have you had any pre-selection discussions for the 2022 election?
No, I haven't had any discussions for the 2022 election at all, categorically.
Isabel and Greg Dygans will appear in court again in June.
And state political reporter Isabel Dayman joins us now from State Parliament. Isabel, what's the political reaction been so far?
Well, Emma, Isabel Dygans has been making some very public complaints about the SA Labor Party over the past few weeks. She's accused the party of having a boys' club culture and says she was frightened to speak out around the time of the Habib flyer scandal. Now, those allegations Labor has continuously and strenuously denied, but the SA Liberal government has already set up a parliamentary inquiry to examine those allegations by Ms Dygans and also Labor's broader party culture. The Attorney-General Vicky Chapman today confirmed that inquiry will still go ahead, despite today's arrests and the allegations now against Ms Dygans and her husband in the courts.
Parliament have determined that there will be a select committee in relation to events surrounding the 2014 campaign conduct of the Australian Labor Party, and that will still progress. Whilst there may be some portion that is relevant in relation to the current charges, it's entirely a matter for the committee as to when they progress that.
Now, Peter Malinauskas refused to comment on the progress of that inquiry into his own party today. What he did say, though, was that he won't be doing anything which could jeopardise the judicial process. Emma?
Isabel Dayman.